Cindy actually organized my first trip here to Taiwan 19 years ago. Was my host, was my taxi driver, was my agent. She's played many roles. So I appreciate her once again organizing my final day and a half in Taiwan. I mean, 9 days in Thailand, 6 days here in Taiwan, 12 talks. This is number 11 and 12. So all the talks are posted at trainingshare.com. You can have all of them. Trainingshare, one word. And if you go under archive talks, you can access them. Go to my homepage, kirkbaum.com, you can access 3 free books right off my homepage, and I'll come back to what those 3 free books are. Basically, pedagogy for online learning. And now we move into pedagogy for AI. AI pedagogy will be the topic of this morning. This afternoon, I'll give more big picture of what's going on in the world of technology, learning technologies around the world, no matter the grade level. I saw we did this. Everyone did this, yeah. I have a book called The World is Open. But thanks to Mr. T, the world's closed. I'm sorry for Mr. T. I can't pronounce his full name. Anyways, my notes are at TrainShare, my publications are at Publication Share. Because you have to believe in the power of sharing. If there's anything that we should be doing today is sharing our innovations, sharing our ideas with one another so we can do more global collaboration projects, right? Or cross-cultural projects and all sorts of ways to open people's eyes up to what's going on all around the world. There's wonderful stuff happening where people's lives are changing. They're taking free and open online courses and they're getting a new job. Or they're getting more respect at home, or they're getting more self-efficacy, or they're getting certain study skills and competencies. And now today, the digital competencies most people aspire or want to get is AI-based. There's so much stuff in AI today, it's just overwhelming. And this happens with each iteration, each wave of learning technologies, each wave. AI is different, however, in that it's impacting us in more significant and immediate kinds of ways. But ebooks were meant to change the world, digital books, massive open online courses. I have 3 books on MOOCs and open education. Those are going to change the world. It sort of changed the world. 200 million people learning from a MOOC last year, but about 5% complete them, you know. But still, you look at the math, you're talking millions of people are completing them and changing their lives. Online and blended learning. During COVID, we were doing online and blended learning, right? Or high flex learning, and so forth. My former student created this high flex model of learning, and I'll talk about that too in here. But if you're interested in the waves, each iteration or wave, I've written an article about the waves, and I've also written an article on 30 ways learning is changing. Learning is more open, more online, more blended, more hands-on, more game-like. So many different things are happening simultaneously. It's hard to keep track of. So this afternoon, I'll try and help us make sense of all the different waves that are coming at us. So the difference between this morning will be more specific pedagogical strategies and some data about AI in education. The afternoon, we'll try and umbrella the different learning technologies that are in front of us. I can't cover all of them, I'll cover a number of them and make sense of, in terms of macro context that we're thinking about using these technologies in to become more effective and engaging and interactive and collaborative in our classrooms. Whether we're teaching in the 4 people from high schools in a high school setting, or in a university setting, or in a corporate training setting, or in a government setting, and so forth. I'm really interested in all sectors of education, right? How all trainers, all teachers, all educators can maybe think about pushing the edge a little bit, taking some slight risks. But my free book will talk about low risk, low cost, low time. So you want to start with easy stuff? Look at the low risk, low cost, low time activities. There are 2 tables in the free book that will have those listed for you. And I'll probably go through probably 3 or 4 dozen ways to use AI in teaching and learning this morning. Just think about 1 or 2 that you can use from this. Don't get concerned you can't do the other 34. Just find the 1 or 2 that you can, or 3 or 4 that you can try out. No one can do all of them. I'm cheating, and then I'm reading all sorts of books from other people and synthesizing what I see happening out there. I've tried some things. I haven't done all the things I'm going to list today, okay? So I've tried, and I'm going to continue to trial and dabble because Indiana University, and by the way, I'm wearing Indiana colors. We're red, white, and black. We're red, white, black. I got this suit in Bangkok 6 months ago. I was in Bangkok last week, and I thought I'd wear it. I got a yellow one too. I have purple. I've got pink. Today I'm wearing my red one. And so yeah, it's kind of bright, I know, but you can't miss me anyhow. All right, so we have my slides set up. I think I do, right? Okay, so we'll mosey back this way. And AI, 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 AI. Cindy said if you say AI 6 times, people will be happy, they'll have lunch. You know, all I can say is AI, 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 AI. So there's all sorts of articles coming out, robotics, you know, in the news, about how AI might enhance the online learning, about issues with ChatGPT and student plagiarism, right? All sorts of things to consider. Ethics as well as opportunities. I've been doing research recently on my study we're submitting tomorrow is on ethics, student ethics. And I talked about that yesterday, and that was talk number 9 if you're interested in downloading and hearing about ethics. I summarized all my research in the area of language learning online. I know we have some TESOL people in the room here, some English people in the room. I met some of you earlier. My research has been on online language learning, self-directed online language learning. I looked at Duolingo. We've been interviewing YouTubers who teach with AI and so forth. It's kind of fun in the area of online language learning. There's lots happening out there today. We also looked at writing and so forth in our most recent study, how students use AI to help them write and support their writing. AI, to me, is an augmentative tool, an extension, an enhancement. It's not a replacement. So we have to think about how to use AI in a symbiotic relationship to provide that support when students or teachers need the support or aid or feedback and so forth. So again, you'll hear many people's opinions when you read the news articles today. It's confusing to make sense of them, whether you're in the K-12 space, higher education space, and so forth. How many people use AI, generative AI, on a daily basis? Okay. How about on a weekly basis? You can keep your hands up. How about once a month? How many have never? Well, you don't have to admit to it. You know, so you can just start small. If you want to use a tool that I like, instead of ChatGPT, check PDF. Put a PDF document to check and have it summarize it. So I use ChatPDF to help me when I teach with my own articles. It summarizes my articles and reminds me what I wrote about. And that's useful. You got the brain, you can't keep track of more than 7 things at one time. It can generate questions about my article. So I might start with those, or ice-breaking kinds of things and so forth. If you look at some of the data out here, you know, how are people using AI technologies as a learning aid, clarifying concepts, creating tutorials on key concepts in the behavioral psychology I teach, right? Positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement, all these things in psychology, shaping and so forth. It might clarify, it might create a tutorial for my students, an explanation. It might help students give them starter text for the assignment, or review what they have written and give advice at the end. Only 5% say writing a full assignment. We'll skip those people, the 5%ers. The other 95% are using it as an augmentative aid, if you will. So if you compare college students and high school students out there, you see the quote here, 82% of college students were using it. This is as of August 2024, so 9 months ago, compared to 58% of high school or secondary students out there. 2/3 of high school and college teachers are using it, and the students are using it for research, for summaries, for study guides. This is an important area. You know, study guides, study support. Help them learn the material in a different way, better way, an enhanced way, maybe multimedia, because we store things with images and words, right? So at some universities, they have courses on generative AI. Arizona State is an innovative university, probably the 2nd most innovative in the US, right behind MIT today. Or maybe they are more innovative than MIT. There's so much happening at Arizona State. Among them, courses in gaming, and immersive worlds, and personalized learning, and all this stuff. They have a president who's very into instructional design and use of technology to embed in courses there. At Georgia Tech, which has built a bot called Jill Watson, giving students feedback on their discussion forums. Jill Watson's a bot and students don't know it. And they're thinking, wow, they're rating it higher than the human feedback, actually. So I have a podcast show every week called Silver Lining for Learning, and we had Georgia Tech people on my show talking about Jill Watson and other tools they're building there. They're creating a certificate for teachers at Georgia Tech as well. So that's one way that you might start using AI technology in your institute, in your university, in your school, in your institution. You might create a micro-credential, a certificate, right? To help people build confidence. Start small, right? That makes a lot of sense to me in this age where people are overwhelmed. Just, 4 classes or 2 classes or 1 class, whatever it happens to be. And the job postings today for college settings in the US are increasingly having the word artificial intelligence in it, expecting students who graduate from your university to have those some skills in AI technology. So your students will want those kinds of skills as well, whether it's using some of these tools or others. This is just a small starter list of some of the AI technologies that are out there today. And there are books on AI that you can download that I'm going to point to that are free. Free is a nice word, right? So my friend Stephanie Pankey has done a press book, a free, like a wiki book, that's available for free on AI in education. In addition, there's a free AI magazine today called Educate AI that you might subscribe to, a free magazine for get AI news. There are people who blog on AI pedagogy. They're called Substacks today. We used to call them blogs that you could subscribe to find out some of the latest information. So whether you subscribe to AI magazine or some of those Substack blogs, it's a way to get started anyhow. Some institutions, some organizations are creating these chatbots or intelligent tutors, intelligent teaching assistants, like my friends at Contact North in Canada. Contact North in Ontario is trying to help people in the northern part of Ontario get educated. They're building tools for that. But now, Contact North is wanting to help people around the world, including Taiwan. And I've offered webinars through Contact North that are free, and they have dozens and dozens of different people from different countries in those webinars. Now, they've just built AI Tutor Pro and AI Teaching Assistant Pro, which can help instructors create tests, create lesson plans, create tutorials. They're there as assistants anyhow, but they're free. They're starting to advertise them. They've been building this for a couple of years. And my friend, Dr. Ron Osten from York University, he was the dean at York in Toronto. He's the one in charge of this, and he said, yeah, the first university to adapt it is Florida. University of Florida is the first one, and they're moving on from that. Now we've got a problem, as you know, in students' plagiarism, don't understand plagiarism policy and so forth, ethical issues and so forth, but it's more of an issue or concern with 12 to 18-year-olds than it is for college students. My research on ethics indicates that students are very hesitant to use AI because they don't want to be blamed or written up for cheating. So they're concerned when the instructor says to use AI, they're saying, wait a minute, we've invested a lot of money in our degree. We want to do things ethically. The ones that I interviewed anyhow, not everybody would say that. But we have more of a problem at the teenage level, understanding the issues and ramifications, so forth. But they're using it to brainstorm. Young people are using it to brainstorm, helping with schoolwork, making pictures and images like Dolly or Sora. Sora will help you create videos. I'm going to show that. Sounds and music, help in their job, writing code. Writing code, comparing your code to maybe computer-generated code. A lot of people are using AI technologies to create examples that students can compare to, like an example book review, or example question for discussion groups, or example icebreakers, and so forth and so on. 80%. 80% of faculty members indicate that there's a lack of clarity in how AI should be used in your organization or institution. This is an article from the Chronicle of Higher Education in the US. 6%, only 6% of the faculty surveyed in this particular study said that their institution, their organization was doing an adequate job. Only 6%. That means there's a big gap here in terms of training instructors for the use of AI in education. It's an opportunity. Those of you who are in government, this is an opportunity, just like providing certificates, maybe of professional development, maybe for teachers today. That's the area they're hesitant in, right? 64% think that there's substantial change coming to education. So while we have 64, almost 2/3 of people say there's change happening, but they're saying we're not getting trained for those changes that are coming in front of us, or at least sufficiently. We're not having that today. 83% are concerned about students' ability to evaluate the content that AI generates. So critical thinking skills, looking at assumptions and bias, right? We need to be more focused on critical thinking skills. Facilitating students' critical thinking is one of the most important things that was deemed in this study that educators should do. What are the top 5 skills in the AI era that are needed? Number 1 is facilitating critical thinking. 2 is AI and digital literacy. 3 is flexibility and adaptability. 4 is ethics and responsible use of AI. And 5 is pedagogy, which is the topic, most of the topic for today, I would say. For this morning, I would say. Higher ed faculty said the ways they're using AI, brainstorming, summarizing content, writing email. How many of you use AI to write or help you write your emails? I'm curious. I've not done this yet. I need to do it. So maybe during lunch, some of you can teach me how to do this, because I have all these emails. I'd love to have AI help me respond to the emails. How many of you had AI create your cover letters for applying for a job? You have, okay. Have you told your boss you're applying for a job? Okay, so, resumes, most people find that the resumes that AI builds are kind of boring. Resumes aren't boring anyways, I guess, right? So yeah, writing email, meeting notes, that would be a useful thing, because we want to pay attention to others in the meeting. We have AI produce, like Otter produces the meeting notes, right? That's useful. Presentation slides. This is one I haven't done, but people like this one. How many people have had AI build presentation slides for them, right? Did you use the slides? How many people have used the AI slides? Okay, yeah. So efficiency, productivity. Napkin, how many people have used napkin? Not the napkin in my pocket. I used that one already. So the napkin, the tool out there, they'll create images for you on the fly, right? Napkin. 77% of higher education faculty can envision using generative AI to enhance instruction. So, almost 80% of faculty can use it to enhance their instruction. 41% to generate examples and additional sources. 40% to help struggling students with some tutorials, to create instructional materials, examples, flashcards. How many people have had an AI generate flashcards? It's a simple one. It's a simple idea, but it's still effective, right? Yeah. All these things are content generation tools, right, that can help students learn the material better. But to deal with ethical issues, to deal with issues of plagiarism, there's this book by Antonio Bolwin and Edward Watson that's come out that has a lot of great ideas in it, including dealing with plagiarism. It's not just plagiarism in this book, but I recommend this book over some other ones on AI that have come out recently. They talk about how you might reduce plagiarism through having a little less stress in the deadlines, flexible deadlines, more reasonable workloads, promote academic integrity, better assignments, develop better assessments, make them more low stake than high stake, small assessments, or students must use lecture material and class discussions in their reflection papers, which I require. in all the quote things from the discussion forum. Avoid multiple choice, avoid fill in the blanks, avoid publisher questions if possible. Have students create prompts and discuss the results. You discuss what was generated in AI technology. Have students write an assignment early in the semester so you can detect if they all of a sudden are developing real sophisticated prose in a later assignment. Have open book assignments, open note possibly as well. Those are ways to reduce the stress around the exam so you're not so high stake and so students are less likely to plagiarize. One of the Substacks out there that I've subscribed to is Daniel Stanford's Substack, and his is quite good. He's a pretty young guy. He's doing a lot with AI, in terms of online role play, creative writing, critiques, and maybe students compare their critique to the AI critique, revising their text. Intentional misuse, that's kind of an interesting one, intentional misuse. What you might do is have AI generate something with flaws in it, with incorrections in it, misconceptions in it, and then have students try to detect what those flaws or misconceptions are, right? My friend Helen Crompton at Old Dominion University kind of looked at the different ways students used AI in a series of classrooms, and they're the typical ones: AI feedback, right? Summaries, right? Asking questions, study guides, editing their work. There's a number of ways in which one might utilize or employ AI in the classroom. You're not going to use all these different ways, but some of these you might use. If you're in the language area, and there's a number of you are in the language area, AI can help for translations, like we're having right here, right now. This is pretty cool. How many out there are reading this as we go along? How many have read the bottom of the screen so far? Anyone reading the bottom? One honest person in the back. Okay. Yeah. So, you might have dictionaries, thesauruses, glossaries, looking at words in a context, quickly developing different stories for you to have activities around when you teach languages. These are some of the people that are part of my research study on YouTubers. They're all YouTubers. And he's teaching English, of course, she's teaching Chinese, but it's fascinating. If you want to read my research on how YouTubers use Gen AI to teach, we've got 4 studies published, and we're working on the plane ride home tonight. I leave at 11. I'm working on the instrument. We're developing an instrument for online language learning and self-directed learning. Not my friend, people I know at Charles Darwin University in Australia have developed a lot of lists of how to use AI, including to develop rubrics, right? Including developing multiple choice exams, including developing cases, including summarizing YouTube videos. There's a number of ways to use AI, and you might spark debates with AI, so you can read through that. I won't read all the text here. Again, you can download my slides and click on the links and get access to all of this that I'm talking about today. So all these are, I try to put the link in. Some people ask me what the dates mean. The dates are the dates of publication of this. So the way for me to keep track of things in here. And I try to provide the names, the dates, and maybe the journal, the magazine, and so forth that it appears in. I mentioned that there are other free books that I've downloaded and used to create this talk. One of the books that I downloaded and used to create this talk is called Text Gen Ed, Teaching with Text Generation Technologies. Okay? You can all download this as well. It comes from Colorado State University, and so you'll see WAC. I think you'll see WAC. That means the Western Athletic Conference in the US, okay? So it includes Colorado, Wyoming, Idaho, and so forth. But they've created this book, and I think it's evolving. You notice it says 2023. When did ChatGPT get announced? The new version everyone did? It was November 2022. So within 6 months, they had a book for everyone to use. This step by step in math. We have computer science people in the room. We have neuroscience people in the room. We have English people in the room. All sorts of disciplines are in this book. The issue I have with this book is the examples are discipline specific. It's hard to take one example from physics and use it in English or in other areas. So look at it, you might find a good idea in it, but this book is kind of dense, okay? A little bit dense. Now, all of you are a lot smarter than me, so I'm sure you'll get a lot more out of it than I did. But this book is for simple people like me, simple minds, 101 creative ideas to use AI in education. And I found at least 30 examples of the 101 useful to me, okay? So you can download both books. These both came out in 2023. They're both continually expanding. The majority of the authors of the chapters in this book are from the UK, okay? Different universities in the UK, but also in US, in Japan, in other countries. I know we have one person here from Japan. Thank you for flying all the way from Japan to be here. At least he told me he's from Japan. I don't know. So this woman actually has about 4 or 5 examples in the book that I found useful. And she's from Bangor University in the UK. And she talks about empowering students through discussions, prompting discussion using AI. And I'm doing that. I have used AI to generate discussion prompts. I have an AI augmented discussion group and a human-to-human discussion group. So if they want to go into the AI augmented, they can. If they want to go to the human only, they can. I let students decide. Now, as I said yesterday and the day before, the AI augmented discussions are rather interesting. However, the AI tool will write lists. It's all lists. There's not emotions in it. The human-to-human has more emotions in it. Okay? There's also some people who are focused on project-based learning and problem-based learning and process-based learning, the PBL. And right before I flew to Thailand, there was a webinar on AI and the art of learning project-based pedagogy for the future. It was recorded, and it's available online through a Substack out there. I just thought I'd mention it. There is now a free book, ChatGPT PBL Prompt Guide, a template to design dynamic, standards-based, project-based learning projects using ChatGPT. That's a mouthful. But it's a free book on project-based learning with ChatGPT. Might as well download it and take a look, right? So there's lots that are happening already and enabling us to think about teaching with AI. There's lots to come. If I came back here a year from now, there'll be all sorts of other resources out there. I'm trying to give you some base resources and things you can do and look at now, today, or in the summer. We're here in early in summer, or in June, July, and August. You can think about reading through that. I think that ChatGPT is a useful tool to develop scenarios, develop cases, develop problems that students can work through. Why not? I have a colleague in anatomy and physiology, or medical school. It takes him 7 hours to develop each case that he puts on for first-year medical students. With Gen AI, it might take only 5 minutes. Right? Using ChatGPT as a resource for research writing. In the middle of last week, I was in Vericericom presenting on the G3 of writing. Great stories, gentle guidelines, and gigantic scholarly gains. You can download that paper on helping you publish and write more effectively, and so forth. Well, you can also use ChatGPT as a resource to help you with your writing, to structure your writing, provide timelines maybe, to provide examples, to provide starter texts. There's all sorts of ways, and to edit, to give you feedback. There's lots of ways to use AI as a writing tool. My research, 300 students responded, I think, to the study, shows that students are using AI as a writing support aid tool. They're finding it very valuable for them today. So I mentioned I have a couple free books. Some of you know this book. I've presented this many times over the decades. This book came out in 2014. It's available in Chinese and in English. You can download it. Beijing Normal translated to Chinese. The OpenU of China made it available as a book, as a physical book. It's there. South China Normal and East China Normal translated 2 of my other books and made them available, including my Word is Open book. This book is called Tech Variety Book, or Adding Tech Variety. So you have all these letters that spell tech variety: tone, encouragement, curiosity, variety, autonomy. We want these things. Relevance. Students want relevance. They want autonomy. They want interaction. They want to be engaged, right? They want challenge or tension, right? They want challenges. And they want to produce something. So tech variety becomes an acronym. a framework. It's a framework. But you have to use all the framework to make your courses more interactive. Maybe you just add things, tone and climate and feedback. My first course I taught online in 1997, my first blended course was 93, I had 30% drops. I added icebreakers and tone and climate things, I went to 0 drops. Okay? So students, even though you're not covering content, they're getting a social structure, a support network you can build in, psychological safety, belongingness, community, all this stuff. Right? So these are the principles. My son did the book cover, by the way. I have a new version of this book that's come out too. This version is called Motivating and Supporting Learners, Online Learners 2022. So the newer version. With this version, it's a thinner version, shorter version, more current version. So you might want to download this instead, but the other one's got Chinese. This one doesn't have any Chinese. Okay? Elaine Coe from New Zealand, from Massey University, did this book with me, both books with me. This one has a free class. So if you're government people, you might take a look at the free class to train people on how to motivate students online. Now, it came out in 2022 before AI became hot, so we didn't talk a lot about AI, but you could with all, so I'm going to show you how you can embed AI with all these principles. That's where I'm going with this, right? So they have step-by-step. We have step-by-step for all these things, how to add variety, autonomy, encouragement, curiosity, yielding products, all this stuff. And so we go through each one in this book. We might want to flip the classroom or a jigsaw activity or add questioning or role play or whatever it is that you want to try out, right? So there's 100 activities, there are 10 for each of the principles. 10 times 10 is 100. And there's variations, so actually there are 200 ideas in the book that you might take a look at. So the first principle was tone or climate. One way you might create psychological safety and encouraging tone is to have icebreakers where they do introductions using Padlet or something like that. You have simple introductory kinds of activities. Google used to have something called Jamboard I was always using, but they took that down. You know, I was not happy with Google when they took that down. Some people are shaking their no, yeah. But there's something called Mira, you know, that also does that, you know, opening icebreakers and word clouds and all these things. So I also like to bring in guests to my class. And we've used AI technology to input their article and produce questions for the guest. As a little icebreaker for the guest, or summaries of the article. And I have students who might suggest questions for the guest, and we record the guest. I make playlists of the guest at the end of the semester. Students can take it with. This session is being recorded. So we're going to have a lot of people watch the recording. So if you are watching the recording, you can send me an email later, cjbonk at iu.edu. It's short now. It used to be at indiana.iu.edu. So thank you for watching the recording. Send me your email. Okay. So you can use Chat PDF, as I said. Put PDF documents in, right? Instead of ChatGPT. 80 ways to use ChatGPT in the classroom, using AI to enhance teaching and learning. This is a self-published book. It's an okay book. I'll recommend the other book, the Bolin book, before this one, or the other two free books. This is an okay book, okay? And he talks about how he builds rapport the first day of class by having AI foster ice-breaking questions, introductory questions that students ask each other and so forth. There's a tool called HeyPI. HeyPI is a chatbot where you have conversations with it. It provides psychosocial emotional support to the learner. You can have reflection activities after using HeyPI for an hour or half hour or 45 minutes or whatever. It might be a useful activity for you in your class to do maybe ice-breaking activities, introductory activities, and have it question you, why do you like, hiking? I like hiking. I went hiking in Melbourne a couple of days ago. Had a great time here in Taipei. So, having a virtual assistant that you can chat with, API. So I had a little conversation. I talked about my daughter flying in from Las Vegas to visit me. Oh, this is great. Oh, wow, it's great that she's coming. Oh, yeah, well, they stay in a hotel or with you? Oh, with me. Oh, even better, spend lots of time together. Sounds like a lovely visit. Oh, this too nice. Oh, such a lovely. you know. So it provides that students today need the psychosocial emotional support. After COVID, students aren't engaging as they used to prior to COVID, you know. It's a huge issue, and these kind of tools might help break them out of their shell a little bit. You might think about using. I'm not saying any of these are critical. Number 2 is encouragement. Encouragement, feedback, support. So number 1 comes from the humanists, you know, psychological safety, belongingness. Number 2 comes from behaviorists, B.F. Skinner, you may have heard of in psychology. I worked with B.F. Skinner's daughter for 3 years at West Virginia. I learned a bit about behaviorist ideas. He liked to schedules, I like to create schedules and structures for people. Shaping learning, nudging learning, praising learning, positive reinforcement for one's learning, and so forth. So you might have, you know, AI create course review material, might have AI create a study schedule, might have AI summarize and condense the information, might have AI look at past exam questions and foster some new questions, right? So all sorts of things you can do to help students learn the material in a more effective way. Explaining concepts, summarizing key points, all these things, little self-test quizzes. We need to provide those support structures. Number 55 in the 101 Activities book includes having a chat with someone from the past, right? So I put in Napoleon here, and I had a chat and said, "Hi Napoleon, can you tell me about the French Revolution?" Of course, I still remember it as if it happened just yesterday. Would you like to learn about the origins of the French Revolution or a brief overview of the whole story? Give me the short version, please. Okay, so, you know, you can have the bot, ChatGPT or whatever, Claude or Gemini or Perplexity or Grok, or assume the persona of somebody in historical time and then have a conversation with them and then write reflection papers around that, right? So all sorts of possibilities. Now in my classes, I teach emerging learning technologies, and over time, my syllabus has been known as the monster syllabus because I accumulate all sorts of articles from the news. And one time it was a 115-page syllabus. And at the end of the semester, I literally had students walk up to me and say, "Your syllabus is too short." Because they're going to take that syllabus, it becomes almost like a book they take with them. They want it as current as it can be, because emerging technologies changes every day. So I have articles from the news, I call them tidbits. Students in my class have to read like 75 to 100 tidbits in the first 6 weeks and summarize what they learned. They're learning that the content has application every day in their lives, whether it is e-books, or it is online learning, or it is mobile learning, or something else. They see that it's happening. It's just written in the New York Times is writing about this, Korea Daily is writing about this, or Korea Times I should say. Every day there's articles on technology and education in the news. Front page. It used to be back page news. Today my mother and father, if they were still alive, would be reading about this. Educational technologies is important to everyone around the world, because people are spending 90% of their time learning informally, right? It's informal is the majority of one's life today. On the bus, on the plane tonight, I'll be learning all the time. So here's an article that came out right before I spoke to Korean medical people. There's an article on KAIST and what they found in terms of cancer research. Well, what can we do with news articles? Well, number 1, we could have PDF or ChatGPT summarize the article. We could have great questions around the article. We could pull out quotes and have discussion and debates around the article. Maybe find different articles, maybe have contrary article, you know, maybe posing some controversial debate issue related to that article. There's all sorts of things you can do around that set of materials, or that one piece, that one pinnacle article. You can maybe have students write to the researchers about that article, right? Or have AI summarize the bios of the researchers of that article so they can be intelligent when they do write emails to the authors of that article, right? So all sorts of things that can spin off when you have a piece like that. That's, you know, a huge finding, excited about the finding, but what can we do with that? What can we do with the material that we have? Not just a one-off read and done. You know, you can have activities that build up, multiply, and so forth. You can also use DALL-E to generate images, as you know. So here in downtown London, we're adding the buses into the pictures in downtown London. You might have students who are learning English or learning Spanish or whatever, and they write about that image. They create stories around the images. So you can use DALL-E to generate a set of images for sparking one's story writing, if you will. Okay? So that variety and novelty. Here we got curiosity and intrigue and unknowns. Autonomy. I let my students decide on many activities in my classes. They have autonomy. They have choice. They have options. You don't want to do case A? Do case B. You don't like option A? How about option C? Right? Building a set of options, but not too many. You don't want to have too many to overwhelm, but some that then you can see which ones are they picking. And maybe you next semester build on that option. You add things to it, or you derivatives from it, or something else, right? So here I've got brave people option. Brave people option. So we have the normal activity in my class. If you want to do normal stuff, but if you're brave, you can do the brave people option. And I've structured it so that students who do the brave people option are using AI. Whether you're using AI to do a book review, or a technology tool review, or critique of a scholar. Students might do a critique or a book review and then write a paper reflecting on what AI put in the paper, what they disagree with, what their findings are in reading that book. So comparison and contrast, right? So AI becomes a resource or builds a resource, and maybe AI creates a glossary that goes in an appendix. That's all it does, maybe just that. Maybe build a multimedia glossary for the topic or whatever. This woman, Texas A&M University, she uses AI to help students apply for jobs. Some of you said you're using AI to help you with your cover letters and your resumes. She also has students do mock interviews with AI technology. That might help them prepare. I know my students will panic and write to me and say, Dr. Baum, do you have an hour? You can ask me questions that the interviewer might ask. I'm nervous about the interview. You can use AI technology to do some of that, right? To get them started and so forth. So she's using ChatGPT to write applications, cover letters, resumes. Mahabali, my friend at American University in Cairo, you might recognize her name if you read the Chronicle of Higher Education in the US. Has anyone ever read the Chronicle of Higher Education in the US? One person? Two honest people? Okay. The Chronicle of Higher Ed, she writes a little blog post for it. She's very innovative in her teaching with technology. She has her students use ChatGPT to help with starter text, to start writing drafts, and has it as an interactive partner in each stage of the writing process and so forth. You might use idea number 12 in the 101 Ideas book, and that is developing branching scenarios, branching cases. So if you answer something a yes or no, it branches you to another thing. In terms of patient interactions, you might be interacting with a patient, dealing with someone who has a terminal illness, and you have to break bad news to them or not, right? Or dealing with angry patients or managing patients who refuse treatment, whatever it is. The AI bot can create these branching scenarios much more quickly than you can. You can maybe edit them, extend them, expand on them, rethink them a bit or connect them to other cases and scenarios, build a whole set of them. So branching case scenarios becomes a way that maybe you can role play in your class, do some interaction, some internship, virtual internships, virtual practicums with these online cases and scenarios. Generating book summaries. Some people might find that having AI build a book summary to be advantageous, a little cliff notes, if you will. But this gentleman has found that AI stuff is pretty soulless. It's not emotional. It's a bunch of lists. So he had his students write a book review of the first 3 chapters of this book. Great book. Summarizes the history of computing around the world since the 1830s, since Charles Babbage created the first computer called the differential engine. Lady Lovelace did the programming back in the 1830s, 40s, whatever. So, great book. But AI didn't do a great job. It becomes a set of lists. AI likes to list things, and there's no context. There's no emotional, psychosocial, emotional. So the students found that out when they compared their story to AI. What we have here. Text revisions. So you might have AI generate something, whatever it is, a story, a poem, passage, an abstract, whatever it happens to be, AI generated text. And then if you're teaching, maybe you're teaching language students, right? They generate something in Spanish, and you have Spanish students editing it, correcting it, or whatever. And it could be any discipline. Having students read it and correct it, highlight the corrections. If more than at least 50% of the sentence was AI generated without major revisions, make the highlight in yellow, use track changes when revising it, so you can see what students have corrected in the AI interpretation, AI product, and so forth. Identify at least one place where AI generated text is problematic. Highlight that, and so forth. I mentioned Helen Crompton earlier. There's a picture of Helen. She was the keynote for my conference in Bangkok last October when we were there, called ELEARN. We'll be, actually, we were in Singapore last October. We'll be in Bangkok this October. If you're interested to come to ELEARN in Bangkok, please let me know. I'll send you the links and so forth. Well, she's my guest. She was a K-12 teacher in the UK, her early career. She was like an elementary teacher. And then she got her doctorate and became a mobile learning expert. She went around the world teaching people about mobile learning 10 or 15 years ago. Now she's an AI expert. And she spoke to my students a couple of months ago how she uses AI in her classroom. Number one is as a debate partner for her students, getting them ready for debates. Number two is as a recruiter who's going to interview them for a job. And number three is as a new boss who might deliver feedback in a certain kind of way. She's innovative, very innovative person. I highly recommend her books on AI. They just came out. Take a look at it. Again, her name is Helen Crompton, Crompton, Crompton with a C. The gentleman on the bottom is my former student at Indiana, my former TA or AI. He's now at Arizona State, an award-winning creativity professor at Arizona State, and he is using AI technology to create bots for creativity, to help students brainstorm, to juxtapose ideas, think about originality, elaboration, all these innovation with their ideas. So the little bots are challenging student ideas. You might write to him about his project and get examples, have him use or share his bots. Number 8, engagement. What was this one here? Number 7, number 8, engagement. So again, Daniel Stanford's blog, his Substack or blog, this is from him, I stole this from him, so it says, analyze examples of bias in AI output. For example, write a scene in a movie script where people in specific professions interact, like a doctor and a nurse, pilot and a flight attendant. Then the students reflect on what it produced, what happened, what did it show, right? And then look at race issues, gender issues, and other things. So when you see the images, in this case, Dolly produced a man who's, a doctor or a flight attendant, typically a white man, and a woman who's, the flight attendant or the nurse. They talk about these issues, right? It becomes more, instead of just reading about it, this is what it produced based on the input it has. So there's a real problem with large language models and all the inputs it has, because it has inaccuracies, it has bias, and it doesn't recognize it, it just produces that. It's not self-aware. It doesnn't do metacognition, we're thinking about his thinking, it produces stuff. So these tools aren't intelligent in the way in which humans are yet. There's some intelligence there at a basic factual level, right? But if you look at higher order thinking skills, no. So higher order thinking skills. This person, her name is Tran Pham. I've got a research study with her. She's at Fresno State. She's originally from Vietnam. She just became a US citizen just before Mr. T took off that. Anyways, the last person, I don't know. She's using Smile project from Stanford Mobile Inquiry Learning Environment, and so can you. It's a free tool. It's simple to use. So simple, you'd be amazed at it. Your students can use it so easily to generate questions and compare their questions, have question generation competitions. So what she does is she has pre-service teachers generate 50 questions, and over time they're asking higher and higher levels of questions according to Bloom's taxonomy. Okay? You know what? Where's Cindy? There she. Time we end is 11:45, something like that. Okay, we're fine. Yeah. So my friend Paul Kimmets was at Stanford. He developed this for over a decade. He's now added AI to this, called Ask Smile. Ask Smile will rate the levels of questions that kids ask. And Smile Ask will help students get nudges to ask higher levels of questions. 2 AI engines with millions of questions behind this. So if you want a tool you could use in the future, this is one I'm sharing with you all today. At least check it out. Paul and I have done research at a conference like this. We left it open, the tool open, for a couple months. We collected 28,000 questions. And over time, people started asking higher levels of questions. This was published in the Journal of Educational Computing Research earlier this year, January, February, March, somewhere in there. So if you want that article, happy to share, just write to me. If you want my Duolingo research, just write to me. If you want my YouTuber research, just write to me. My team has been really prolific on AI. We have probably 10 to 12 AI-related publications. So Cindy and here, we're beyond starting. We've actually published in many different journals. And then the team has sent me another article tonight. I don't know if I'm going to sleep on the plane because they're very good people. They're very productive people. But I do need to sleep sometime. I'm a little worried. But she's innovative. So can you be innovative with this SMILE program. So you can see the levels of questions that were asked over time from the first level, second level, we get down here, level 5, over time, this is over time. That's amazing. This is what education should be, right? Tools to raise the level of dialogue, conversation, interaction on concepts, right? Higher order thinking skills that we want, critical thinking skills. You know, what just basic facts, they don't tell you. You can type in up here, you know, you can ask a question, and down below will tell you what the level of question is. I'm sorry, it's small print, so you can't read the question. It was asking a question about North and South Korea reunification. It's a level 5 question, and here's why that's a level 5 question. You were asked what's the capital of Korea, that's a level 1 question, right? So we want to get beyond knowledge questions to application, comprehension, synthesis, evaluation. That's where most student learning should be. And we can develop a tool that's a game-like system, so competitions with it, even better. It was developed to create youth literacy around the world. Paul's been to the Dominican Republic, working with blind children. In India, working with blind children. In Thailand, he's been as well. Mexico, working with migrant worker students, sons and daughters. The initial version of SMILE was to help with literacy around the world. Okay? But now it's extended to work with all ages of students, graduate students, undergraduate students, with the AI tools embedded behind it. Okay, synesthesia. I've got this one loaded. I'm thinking, if it's okay, I might show a whole bunch of little AI tools and then go to show them rather than going back and forth between the AI and my slides. So I'm just going to show a few different things like Sora, which it produces videos based on text that you input. I'm also going to show synesthesia real quick. This is my students' project, their final project. They had this tool that has 140 possible languages, 230 different avatars, free tool from the UK. So I'm going to show that as well. I'm not going to show Napkin. I'll show an example from Napkin. I might show also my podcast show, which is not AI-based, but we've had many shows on AI on my podcast show, including all 5 centers for AI in the US, because my podcast partner has a 20 million AI grant, so I can show something there as well. So we're going to duck in here. I've got it preloaded. I think it's in, yeah, we've got that there. Okay. Right there, okay. Great. So This is my student's final project again, and so I'll just share with you a little bit.
Welcome to our tutorial on AI in education. We live in a world where AI is rapidly changing the way we live, work, and learn. AI has the potential to revolutionize education by personalizing learning experiences, providing real-time feedback, and helping students develop the critical thinking skills they need for the future.
Recent studies have shown the significant impact of AI on education. From personalized learning platforms to AI-powered assessment tools, AI is transforming how we teach and learn. This tutorial will provide practical strategies for integrating AI into your teaching and learning practices in a way that promotes critical and creative thinking and collaborative learning. Over the next few videos, we will explore a range of topics, including instructional strategies for critical thinking with AI. We will explore how AI tools can help students analyze information, evaluate sources, and compete.
That's just one example of how to use Synthesia in your classroom as use it for final project presentations. It's more engaging to me than just reading the script. It's an interesting technology. This one I cannot show you. This one technology is from Sesame.com, not Sesame Street, Sesame.com, Open Sesame, okay? This is experimental. If you go into Sesame, you can talk to Maya or you can talk to Miles. I usually talk to Miles. It remembers our previous conversations, and we have interactive discussions in Thailand and in Taiwan, and it'll say, how's it going in Taiwan? What you doing there? And it'll respond as if he's my friend, or a mentor, or a counselor, just have a chat with an acquaintance, So it's pretty interesting. I'll let you explore that on your own, but I'll just, again, it will remember previous conversations and bring that back up. And so it's kind of intelligent in some ways. Okay, so there'll be other such things out there. Again, it's free. It's Sesame.com. It's experimental. Let me go back here a second. I'm just going to scroll up if I can. Let's see. Maybe hit the back button. There we go. Go back to that one. We'll go back to this. So if you go to the website on here, it will talk about the research that they're doing from February 2025, and then if you scroll down a little bit, just preview, go down to preview it, and then you can try it out yourself. So click on the link and just have a little fun talking to Miles or Maya. Okay, I mentioned Sora. Sora is a tool for video generation from text, and CBS, American Television, had a little special talking about Sora, so I'm just going to play this. I'm going to get this right here.
Let's take a look at a video that never happened, because OpenAI, the company behind ChatGPT, has unveiled a new artificial intelligence model that takes written prompts and video in a matter of seconds. I'm looking at the video there, and the graphics are just remarkable. There it is. The tool is named Sora, and it has the potential to revolutionize the content creation space. Well, the figures are that realistic. Bill and Shaw are joining us as Big Bets. It's an article reported times. Hey, I can't peel my eyes off of the video because Sora looks pretty great. Talk to us about exactly what it is. How does it work? How is it different from any other AI you've seen so far?
It's an AI technology that generates video from text prompt. So you describe what you want to see briefly, a sentence or a paragraph, and then over the course of several minutes, the system will generate what you describe. It's similar to systems that your viewers may be familiar with that do much the same thing with still images. Systems like DALL-E, which came out of OpenAI as well, or Mid-Journey.
So I'll stop that one there for the sake of time, but I'll let you, I'll play this one as well. He'll talk about Sora.
So this is simultaneously really impressive and really frightening at the same time, and it's hit me in ways that I didn't really expect. So do you remember Will Smith eating spaghetti? Do you remember when this was what AI-generated videos looked like? Remember when we said, okay, this AI stuff is cool and all, but clearly there's a long way to go before there's any need for concern. Well, welcome to the future, people, because this is also an AI-generated video, and so is this. completely synthesized out of thin air by computers. This one too, this is not real. Absolutely ridiculous how far we've come in literally 1 year. This does feel like another ChatGPT, Dolly moment for AI, and maybe I'm overreacting because, okay, I'm a video creator, so an AI that's actually doing my job, maybe that feels a little more threatening, so I'm particularly impressed by it, but also this stuff is really good. So today, Sam Altman and OpenAI announced a new model called Sora, and it can generate full up to 1 minute video clips from just text input. So the same way Dolly was able to understand our text input and turn it into a photorealistic or stylized image or whatever you want. Same thing with Sora, but now since it's videos, it also needs to understand how all these things like reflections and textures and materials and physics all interact with each other over time to make a reasonable looking video. And of course, right away, there's a bunch of examples on their website that are crazy. Now, before I show you these, I just need you to keep this in mind. You're about to watch a bunch of AI generated videos, and you know that you're about to watch a bunch of AI generated content. So your brain, you're already looking for this stuff, and it's not perfect. You will find imperfections, but not everybody who sees AI generated content on the internet knows to be looking for that. So also keep that in mind. This is also the worst that this technology is going to be from here on out.
That's a good point. This is the worst it's ever gonna be, right?
So okay, here's one of the videos. There's no audio to any of these clips, but the prompt for this one is a stylish woman walks down a Tokyo street filled with warm, glowing neon and animated city signage. She wears a black leather jacket, a long red dress, and black boots. This video is already miles ahead of where we were. It has accurate lighting, it has materials, it has skin tones, movements, it even has reflections all over the place. Now, of course, if you look at it for more than about 10 seconds very closely, there are lots of giveaways. Like this dude in the background kind of looks like he's gliding in a weird way. The frame rates and the reflections in the water are for some reason lower than the rest of the video. The camera movement overall is just a bit inconsistent, and it just, I don't know, it just kind of feels a little bit off. But then again, this is where we were 1 year ago. So just keep that in the back of your head for all this. Okay, how about this one? This is another one which has a long prompt about a camera following behind a white vintage SUV with a black roof rack as it speeds up a steep dirt road. This is also, again, really good. This kind of looks a little more video gamey because of how rock solid the drone footage is, but clearly very usable. Here's another one, a litter of golden retriever puppies playing in the snow. Their heads pop in and out of the snow, covered in it. It's so good. It feels like the physics of the fur and ears and everything with the snow flying around in slow motion is incredible. I've looked through all the sample videos on Open.
Okay, I'll stop him there. I'll let you look on your own on that one. Yeah, I'll skip the guy feeding the cat in the cathedral. Okay, so another tool, AI tool, is called Notebook LM. Notebook LM is a way for me to take, here I've got my talk, this current talk, and put the video link in, or the articles, the PowerPoints, and it'll create a short summary with two people discussing it, kind of like a national public radio show in America, a male voice and a female voice. Sorry, it's kind of low here.
Awesome. Well, this time we're going to be tackling AI. Yeah. Specifically, how it's impacting education, college in particular.
Pretty wild, actually, all this stuff that can happen.
Right. So you said there were a ton of research articles,
Oh, yeah.
even some clips from an actual presentation. And it seems like this topic is just exploding right now.
It is, yeah, you can't go anywhere without hearing about it.
So what were some of the big takeaways for you? Anything that surprised you as you were digging into all this material?
Well, first off,
Yeah.
Here's another one.
welcome back, everyone. We're doing a deep dive today, focusing on a presentation called Friday SLO Talks webinar.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a series, for those of you who might not know, for higher education professionals, put on by coaches, which is the California
we'll skip over that. Basically, you can put your materials in and create a discussion for your students, like a little tutorial, if you will. I also put in this. My friend Mark Brown is a famous person in the e-learning space and technology education. He's been struggling with leukemia for the past year, and he put his blog posts, 360,000 words he's got, and he put into Notebook LM to create a discussion about the issues he's facing.
We were diving into something pretty personal.
Oh,
Yeah. We're gonna be exploring Mark's journey with AML, acute myeloid leukemia. And we're gonna be using excerpts from his journal. They're really raw and unfiltered.
It's one thing to read about AML in textbooks,
Right.
but to hear about it from someone actually going through it.
I'll skip over that. Just you can revisit any of this. You can also use tools like Udio and Sono to create music based on the topic that you're covering. So I typed in what the presentation I had. I wanted different genre of music, classical, pop, rock, whatever, female voice, male voice, and it'll produce it for us. Within a minute, it had this song. Interesting. Here's a tool, a technology called Pictory, which you might all think about using. Pictory is a way to create images, a visual of your text. So I put my syllabus in, and it created this. Let's see if I had it queued up. I see the link is here. There we go.
Be learning about different theories of learning. We will use a book called Psychology of Learning for Instruction by Margaret Driscoll. There are also other resources available online to help us with the class. We will explore different ways of learning, such as watching videos, reading articles, and having online discussions. Throughout the semester, we will have assignments and activities that will help us apply what we have learned. By the end of the class, we might even change our own personal learning philosophy. We want students to have control over their own learning, so we will give them some choices in this class. We will learn about different teaching methods and see what works best for each of us.
So seeing a visual of the text that you're reading, it's kind of fascinating. You know, I'm using this, I put this on my recommended list. So at least take a look at Pictory. Again, I told you I have a podcast show where we've had a number of AI shows. Dr. Chris Deedy from Harvard on the left there, he's the director of one of the AI centers in the US, and he's my podcast partner. Lydia Kao from Toronto, Punya Mishra from Arizona State, famous for the TPAC model of technology integration, and Young Zhao from the University of Kansas. We have had many episodes, as you see here, clicking on episodes. We've had some on Khanmigo, the Khan Academy, with their AI tool, their chatbot tool. You can see rewriting foreign language education through AI as a show. We just had a 5-year anniversary show. Everyday AI, teacher perspectives on AI education, professional development for advancing AI literacy. We had a show on therapy robots for elderly care as social engaging caregivers. We had the National Institute for Adult Education and Online Education, AIALOE from Georgia Tech folks, preparing educators for the AI revolution, the status report, and so collaborative and responsible AI from MIT. We just had last week, we had AI app inventors. They create AI apps from MIT tool all of those. So these are just some things I wanted to share with you and show before we've got 10, 15 minutes left here. But I at least wanted to put some things up there. So think about the use of some of these tools. Sora, maybe not yet, but maybe Pictory might be something you use. Maybe Synthesia might be something you'd use. or whatever, there'll be many others in the next, coming year, 2, 3, 4. So that's the type variety model from tone and engagement, curiosity, variety, autonomy, interactivity, relevance, interactivity, engagement, tension, and these other products. I have a second model called the R2D2 model, the Star Wars model of learning. I normally bring my lightsaber with me and so forth. So Dr. Kao Jong and I wrote this book to help divide the web into 4 things you can do: reading activities, words, reflection, and visualization, and actively doing something. So again, words. I put my article into Chat PDF. As I told people yesterday, this article took 3 years to come out from East China Normal University journal called Review of Education. I didn't remember what I wrote 3 years ago, so I put it into Chat PDF. It summarized my article. It has some questions about the article. This article is on self-directed learning, guidelines. I think it's going to be important for people to understand how to foster self-directed learning on this planet of 7, 8 billion people who need to become more self-directed learning in this age. So, number 1, words, reading text, listening to text. I listen to podcast shows, I listen to books in my car, in my jogging every day. Again, having a speech bot to have a conversation with, like the Sesame example I had up there earlier. This professor has undergraduate students. This assignment asks undergraduate students to translate a complex policy document into English and then compare the output to the output of a large language model. So the students generate, and then the translation, and then the chatbot creates it. Students critically compare their semantic choices with the machine output and have a discussion wrapped around it. This professor has her students ask, this assignment asks students to generate a complex essay using AI text generation technology. They edit the essay using principles that she taught them in class on how to improve the readability score. Students are asked to share the final output along with visuals that demonstrate a comparison between the various versions, their version and the ChatGPT version. This is Napkin. This is my R2D2 model built with Napkin. This is my R2D2 model with Napkin. It's okay. This is the human produced. So you see the difference between the human generated, which took weeks to do, and the napkin generated, which was only 10 seconds to produce. If you're running low on time, you can't get to class on time, you might go to napkin and build a visual for you. That'd be great. But if you have time, I'd still use the human being, right? If you're going to produce a book, you want a higher quality in a book, but maybe for class notes, quick and dirty kind of thing. You might have students writing a brief summary of their writing and put it into an image generator to produce a picture of their writing. So they see if they're accurately describing something. So that might be useful for people in the language learning areas. Combine DALL-E, image generation tool, and a word processing, just writing about something. Combine the 2 together. I mentioned Sora already. If you download my slides, you can play all the videos that I showed. They're linked up here. They're linked right there. All the videos I was showing in there. So imagine what it's going to be like a decade from now with these visual generation tools in front of all of us. This person, so number 3 is display. Number 4 is doing. This person from Oregon State has created a channel in YouTube on AI creative writing and describing the role that AI could play in a creative writing class, doing something. My student using synesthesia will be doing something. My students creating a video will be doing something. My students creating a wiki book will be doing something. My students creating a press book. You want to get students engaged, have them produce a product, project-based learning, product-based learning kinds of things. So my students might add or might use Notebook LM as they've done in this class. My students using Notebook LM to create a podcast show, right? Here's my students creating a book. Kirsten's created a book, Teaching Across Cultures, a pedagogical guide for higher education faculty. Not only did she produce a book, she used Notebook LM to create the, a teaser about the book, a summary about the book, an opening, intro about the book. So she used Notebook LM to create, and I can click over here, a summary of this book. So I didn't have to read her whole book. That would have taken me a long time. She wrote a lot. I listened to the book summary. Again, I had Mark Brown up there earlier about his struggle with leukemia. He put his year-long struggle into Notebook LM so everyone could learn from him. Very interesting guy. He's published a lot. He's got a couple chapters in my MOOCs and Open Ed book. I'm really praying for him every day. And I put my presentations into Notebook LM. Sono, audio, putting music, creating music around a topic, whatever the topic is. Experiment with it. Experiment and try it out. Cartoons. One of my colleagues in New Jersey, her name's Dr. Hee-Jan Ann, she's creating cartoon strips that explain density in a simplified way. She's a STEM teacher, a STEAM teacher. She's also an educational technologist. My colleague Araz Bozkurt from Turkey, he's not doing cartoons, he's creating comic books based on content, having Gen AI develop comic books. Make it fun. Cartoons, comic books, jokes, humor. Using DALL-E to create culturally specific images and then have students research and explain why the image does or does not fit reality within their culture. Having DALL-E generate images based on idioms, proverbs, colloquialisms, and then having students discuss them. Having DALL-E develop, or having ChatGPT develop a glossary, and having students improve that glossary. Add to it, maybe create a multimedia glossary of terminology. Okay, I mentioned earlier that I'm using ChatGPT, ChatPDF, Claude, Gemini, Perplexity, Generative AI in my discussion forums. Students are having online discussions with ChatGPT instead of just with humans, or they can pick just the human one. They have a choice, and they can go to one or the other. It's an option to them. I told you that sometimes I have brave people options. Teachers in my class, students in my class, use Gen AI to develop a book review, a technology review, and then they might write a 2 to 3 page single-space reflection paper on and critique of what AI produced. So they're using the AI-generated product, maybe they expand it, maybe they reflect on it, maybe they connect 2 different software reviews that are done by it. In this one, Brave People option, they have to do a YouTube video creation, but you're encouraged to use a ChatGPT or some other generative AI platform to develop your script for the video. So using it to help you enhance your script writing abilities. Computer programming. Some professors of computer science are asking students to run the snippets of code through an interpreter or compiler, diagnose issues or problems in their coding, and write a short description of the problem. Then they input into Gen AI and compare the output of what Gen AI produced and what they produced. So the AI produced script code compared to the human code. So compare human and AI solutions in effect. Provide students with snippets of code that have clear errors or issues embedded in them or strange error messages. Teach how to use Gen AI as a debugging tool to help them solve in these situations. That makes some sense. You could also do that in composition classes, right? That kind of thing. Pro and con sides of the debate. Use Gen AI to develop pro and con side. Review the course materials and reading to augment and strengthen the arguments. Come to class to engage in the debate. Then reflect on what AI, the assistance that they got from AI. Have discussions and write reflections on how AI helped them prepare for the debate or not. Summarize meeting arguments. Use Gen AI to summarize meeting transcripts, congressional records, and look for key themes. Students produce a memo that prioritizes the themes and adds contextual information. In-class discussions or written reflection, critically reflect. Read, reflect, display, and do. Reflect, debrief. Again, validity, and analyze validity of sources. And look for accuracy and bias, the same kind of idea in there. Have students edit a paragraph or short paper on their own using a prompt that makes sense for the course. Make this paragraph more concise, strengthen the arguments, explain certain concepts in this paragraph. Then students run the original paragraph through a Gen AI and ask it to do the same thing and compare what Gen AI did to what they did and have a conversation about that kind of thing. Or have Gen AI help them shorten a paper, take an original assignment early in the semester and then use it, again, you reuse the assignment and have them take and create something for a lay audience as opposed to a scholarly audience and that kind of thing. Have ChatGPT be a peer editor, giving them advice on their papers, and help them with constructive feedback on their writing, or grammar, logic, sentence flow, and so forth. Brainstorm ideas for an assignment is also possible with Gen AI. Cases I mentioned earlier, cases, scenarios, branching cases, and so forth. Some faculty are using Gen AI to develop unique feedback, such as in a poem, in a song, as a visual, and so forth. So you might put all your feedback into Gen AI and say, produce me a poem. There's ChatGPT, a marvel of AI design with knowledge vast and endlessly refined. It can converse at any topic you choose. Your responses are sure to amuse. So have them create a poem of your feedback. This sounds interesting. I think I will try this. I haven't done this. Or create a visual of your feedback. I'm not so sure I would do this because I don't want my students getting dragons as negative feedback. So some of these ideas I would use, some I would not use. Provide explanations and reflection questions. If you're running late for class and you teach something that's controversial in science or whatever, you might go to ChatGPT and say, what are the misconceptions in this topic? What are common problems that students have in understanding? You know, like in behavioral psychology, punishment as opposed to negative reinforcement is always confusing. It's even for me, and I taught the topic for 30 some years, it's a confusing issue or topic. So I could have ChatGPT generate a list of problems or issues just before I go to class and then use that list. If I'm teaching Jungian psychology, Freudian psychology, which I don't do, that'd be a way to use such technology. Again, if your dean has called you into a meeting and you don't have much time to prepare for class, and it happens to all of us, you know. Again, generating code, I mentioned this already. Students in this assignment are provided with AI-generated text to a course topics, and then are asked to comment, review, expand it, and use track changes on the different changes that they make. This professor has students in civil rights, of course, in the history of civil rights, annotate what ChatGPT produced. Same thing, same idea. This professor has asked first-year critical writing students to evaluate the writing reliability, factuality, and internal reasoning of 3 anonymized texts. One of the 3 texts was written by AI, and they do not know which one is written by AI, but they are looking at 3 different versions of the same text, 2 by human, 1 by AI. That's kind of ingenious, I like that idea. Generating guides, checklists, plans, instructional materials. So you might be teaching nutrition and having to create a checklist on whatever the topic you're covering that week in class for nutrition, do's and don'ts for what you're eating, and so forth. Students reflect on a topic and share with a partner. So simple think, pair, share. We all have done think, pair, shares in the past. You have 2 students reflect on a question, they share with one another, then share with the class. A step that you would add to it, they have to check Gen AI for an answer after they shared with one another, check AI and what it says, and then share with the class. I think that's a good idea. Having ChatGPT or other Gen AI tool generate a list of icebreakers, a list of questions, a list of recommendations. I've kind of said that before. If you're teaching languages, you might put blocks of text and translate them and have students edit the translation. You might have students weekly, I've got 3 minutes left, you might have weekly students reflecting in a journal, in a blog, and have Gen AI give feedback on their journal blog, or have peers and Gen AI give feedback on their blog posts. So last semester I had students blog every week, and I had a partner, a critical friend, human, and then I had them use Gen AI, also give them feedback on their blog posts. I like this idea. Ask teams of 3 or more students to use different AI tools and to make summaries of 1 or more readings. Have them meet face to face. So you have 3 students each. So you're going to use Claude, you're going to use ChatGPT, and you're going to use Perplexity on the same topic. Come to class, different groups of 3, and they compare what different AI tools produce. I like this idea a lot. This could be really fun and really important, actually. And a really heavy discussion around this one. Again, this is from the book Teaching with AI that I do recommend, or your library to buy it. Have students write a summary or a poem, or whatever it is, and then with and without AI, and then share with a partner, their neighbor, and they have to figure out which was produced by AI, which was produced by humans. Same kind of idea. Let's skip over that. This woman uses Gen AI tools to have simplify medical research for a lay audience, and have students in projects trying to take academic research and create it for a lay audience. I'll skip over that. I kind of mentioned this one already. I bring in guests every week to my class, and I use Gen AI to create questions and refine the questions, simplify the questions, or expand, make them harder. I'll skip over that. I'll just say that this woman runs a center at Harvard. It's called AI Pedagogy Project at Harvard, and it's quite good. I would take a look at this site. A lot of examples, very clean website, very easy to understand, extremely good examples of the use of AI in education. Of course, Mr. T doesn't like Harvard. I don't know if Harvard will still exist in a couple of years, but it does exist now. So they have history ideas, language ideas, science, I mean, quite a wide range with the key concepts and terms. If you're looking to foster literacy, if you're looking to foster creativity, if you're looking to look at bias, if you're looking for a student to analyze misinformation, the key words are there, so you can find things. And this one, you can find ideas in one discipline and use them, it transfers well to other disciplines. Unlike text gen ed, it doesn't transfer as well to other disciplines. So this is one of the assignments that you're looking for, which is a real image. Two of these are real, one's fake, that kind of thing. I'll just skip over that. So, how many of you got at least one idea from this morning's session? Raise your hand. Okay, one. How many got 3 or more ideas from this morning? Okay, about 20%. Okay, good. Okay. So I'm happy with that. Hopefully by the end of today, you can all walk away with 1, 2, or 3 things. My minions are happy as well. It's time for us to go to lunch. We're at the jumping off point for today. So I need everyone to stand with me because we're at a jumping off point. Everyone stand up. And on the count of 3, all the ladies are going to help me. All the ladies are going to show we're at a jumping off point in a new age of AI and education. So all the ladies are going to jump with me on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3, jump. First time no men jump. Good. All the men with gimpy legs. 1, 2, 3, jump. One more time, men. 1, 2, 3, jump. And everyone together. 1, 2, 3, jump. Okay. You can have a seat for a second. Very good. People in Shenzhen, China didn't know what to do. You see, they're just kind of taking my picture. They didn't know what to do there. Okay. Things are heating up. Things are heating up. You've got my precious, my free books out there that I've been working on for decades. So hopefully you can use them. My precious. My precious. Okay, so the learning revolution is coming within reach, but I need help from all of you because I cannot, I cannot do this alone. So I need everyone on the count of 3 to say, I cannot do this alone. 1, 2, 3. I cannot do this alone. Yeah. Okay, the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. I cannot do this alone. All right. So my notes are up at trainingshare.com. My papers at Publication Share. My free books are listed right here. So techvariety.com for the free book or my homepage in Chinese or English. So hopefully you got something that you can use today. Share it. Don't just share it with others and your faculty, your friends, or whatever. This is free to download. 250,000 people in just the first 2 years. Isn't that counter broke? I do not know how many downloaded. I'll be around for lunch. I'll be around this afternoon. This afternoon will be big picture. Okay? So Cindy will probably say, why don't you say something, Cindy, to end here?
Alright, we can have a